Hello, and welcome to episode 30 of Game of Names. This is going to be the last episode that I do for a while because I need to take a little break and think of a different way that I can show the profoundness of this information that only I have. I know it may seem small because I'm talking about words and numbers and letters, but that constructs everything in our universe. Everything. Every plant, every animal, every mineral, every thought form is explained through the word now. And there's reasons for every single one of them, including the names of every individual born into this planet. Let me put this out. Anyone out there who wants to do something better for the planet that they live on and wants to ensure that their children might have a future and might ensure that they themselves will have a future they want to be part of, other than chasing after money and material things, then here is your chance. Contact me. You can reach out to me any way you can. I'm available. I put my number and email address in many of the videos. I'll do it in this one. So feel free to contact me because I'm here for you. This may not be fun. This may not be all kinds of entertaining. And it's not meant to be. We as human beings have to learn that there are things that need to be put as priorities over what kind of things we do for fun. And until we can do that, there's really no hope for many of us. So we've got to learn that taking the time to become intelligent is one of the most important things you can do here. That's why you're here. You're not here to just have fun and be a demon. This is to be no offense to anybody. It's just very offensive to almost everybody who sees how neglectful and how ignorant other people can be and how they can show such little respect for other beings, other people, other animals, anything in the world other than themselves and what does something for them. We've got to get a grip because we've lost it, and we lost it a long time ago, and it's coming around and it's showing us our mistakes, and nobody wants to fess up. Nobody wants to say, hey, we were wrong, because they don't want to feel bad. It's not about just feeling good. Let yourself feel bad. Let yourself feel ashamed of what you've been part of. And now work towards making it better so you can truly feel good and move on from this. All right? So, let's move into episode 30, which is going to be some of the more prominent inventors, people who've done experiments, and just some fun ones, because I do love you guys. I want to laugh and have fun and be a family. But we can't do that until we actually come together. And right now, we're so apart, it seems like there's no way. But I know in my heart there is. I just don't want to see people have to get hurt in order to learn. Because they can do it without that. They can be smart and make steps towards the right thing now. So let's begin episode 30. This being the last Game of Names volume for a while, like I said, I wanted to make it somewhat fun. And I just got done doing a podcast interview with my good friends Jonathan Wright and Crip Rick. And we were talking about these three individuals that I want to put on here first, because it's more fun than some of the other ones I'm going to do. So, first we'll start with three puppeteers. Darcy Lynn Farmer, the winner of America's Got Talent years ago. Born October 12th, 2004. Now, if you understand what I've been saying for years now, October, the 10th month, J is coming into tense. 12 is as it lie, or the active base. 2004 is a plus 20. 04 is to and from, or dia, dialect, dialogue, plus dialogue, or plus dia. So she's intense, active base, plus to and from. She's a puppeteer with the name of Darcy Lynn Farmer. Now, if you do what I've been saying about sound it out like it's child speak, because all languages come together. Darcy line for me. She does the lines for me. Or you could say, to and from, dia, active reference, constant to itself identified. Now, as it lie, vitally identified, a notion upon itself or in this blank space, expressing form, force, or familiar, active reference, manifest, expressed reference. So she's the active reference, manifesting an expressed reference. And she's a ventriloquist. Do you think this is just all coincidence, my friends? No, it isn't. I'll answer that for you. Does she line for me? Now, if you understand what a farmer is, you got to understand. A farmer is one who activates forms. It's a farmer. When you farm, you are activating form. If you're a corn farmer, what form do you activate? Corn. If you're a pig farmer, unfortunately, what do you form? Pigs. Because you're a form active reference manifest. Because you're going to activate a reference of manifestation, and you're the one who does it. Familiar, form, or force. Farmer. So she's a Darcy Lynn. Linguistic, Lynn. Darcy does the lines for me. Do you understand? I hope so. I'm saying it as simply as possible because I give a damn and because it's accurate. There's no reason to put all kinds of extra shit in here. Everyone's getting lost. It's time to bring people back and help them get found. This is what it's all about. And I'm here to bring you back to the true light because God has manifested within this guy right here. God is in everything. But most people have disconnected themselves so much because they're living either in their ego or they just don't even have any clue why they're here. So we'll move on to the next. Jeff Dunham, Jeffrey Douglas Dunham, born April 4, Dia, to and from, 18, reference or active here, 1962, subjecting form base. Oh, wow. Do you see how cool that is? And intense, expressing a form upon form reference expressed vitally identity, Dia, ongoing unit, generating and grouping, Laz, Ling, active subject, Dunham, Dia, unit, notion, here, active manifest. So what does he do? Intense, he, Dia, ongoing unit, generated and grouped, as it lies active subject, he, Dia, unit, notion, here, active manifest. He's a puppeteer. Do you see? I hope so, because if you don't, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. So for the third of the puppeteers, the OG himself, we've got Jim Henson, James Maury Henson, September 24th, 1936. September 9, identity. 24, center or based dia, to and from. 1936, subject, constant to itself, form, force, or familiar. So if you're going to identify a center, subject, constant to itself, form, force, or familiar, and your name happens to be James or Jim Maury Henson, intense, active, manifest, expressed subject for James, or intense, identified manifestation for Jim. Maury, manifest, active unit reference, vitally identified. Here expressed notion, subject, ongoing notion. Henson. What do you do with a puppet? You put your hand in it. Not always, but hands in. Hanson. Do you not see that this is just magic? I am telling you, when I say that I've done this over and over and over, I know it's hard for you to believe, but I don't go into the details of any of my past lives or any of my future lives because I'm trying to help you in your life right here. If you only knew how much I'm sacrificing to help everyone else but myself, you'd realize that you should be helping me beyond other people, and not because I want your help, because it's actually going to help you more than anyone else. So get your head out of money, get your head out of material possessions, and try to get your head out of your pants. Please, because the world needs you to wake up. Now. There is no beating around the bush. There is no, oh, maybe some people aren't ready. Maybe they just need to die in order to learn. That's not the way we just approach things. We don't just say, oh, forget about everybody else. Just let them be what they're being, and if they die, they die. They've got to learn. Come on. I thought we actually had a brain, some of us. The very few that I know are just too afraid to say anything, or they're too afraid to get hurt. But I know that I don't die. I know how silly that sounds to most people when I say it. But if you really are somebody who thinks you're conscious, then tell me where I'm wrong and tell me why you think you need to keep studying space, aliens, flat earth. Those things don't matter. When you die, you're not going to be here anymore. You're not going to worry about any of the backstories or any of the present day stories that are going on. You're being played like a puppet, and I'm trying to cut the strings and let you be real boys and girls. Okay? Before we move on, I just want to make sure that I make it clear that, yes, I know that the last three people that I explained were not all puppeteers per se, and they would rather be called ventriloquists. No offense. I'm just putting categories together to try to make these videos have some kind of structure, because I could literally do this with every person, place, thing, or object in the universe, and it would always be true. Because if you haven't been able to tell by now, I'm not lying. I speak the truth, and I know God. So I know people don't want to hear that, but the next person is going to start off a section with people who have had profound meaning or profound historical background, such as Christian Doppler. Someone who understood how to measure the weather is someone named Christian Andreas Doppler. Now, if you know what Doppler radar is, it's how they measure the waves and the pulses of our atmosphere to be able to tell how weather patterns work. And as I've said at least 100 or more times in these last few years, as I break down the word Christ, it means the concept here, rised. Not rised, R-I-S-E-D, R-I-S-T. Because there is no ED, it's not expressing to and from, it's plus. See how that makes a huge difference? It's not just rised, it's rised. Christ, concept here, rised. That rised, but is. It's not past tense, it's always. It's the living energy in everything. That's what Christ is. Get it through your head, get over the misconceptions and the confusion, and let's move forward from here. So, Christian Andreas Doppler. We could say the concept here that rised, or you can say constant here, reference, identified, subject, plus identified active nature or notion. Andreas, you could say and, re as, or you could just say it in the breakdown. Active notion, dia, reference, expressed, active, subject. Andreas. And then Doppler. Dia, not up, but Oppler. Ongoing, in place upon itself. Active base, expressed reference. Someone who could explain the potential upon itself of what? Dia, ongoing. A big circle means this whole thing. Ongoing. Dia, ongoing. Potential upon itself, or placement upon itself, as it lie, expressed reference. Not just Doppler, but Christian. That rises, identified active nature. And reference expressed active subject. Dia, ongoing, potential upon itself, as it lies, expressed reference. I mean, this is actually sort of fun to break down sometimes, but I know if people don't get it, they're like, what the hell's this guy talking about? But this is something you need to see the older videos to understand that this is what every letter means. And when you change the combinations of those words, it makes completely different people. So let's take a look at his birthday, November 29th, 1803. As I've said many, many times, 28 is either blank space or based here. It's just based here. So it's something that's here, but it's based because it's 8. So it's plus here. And then 29 being one past that is based identified. So it's something that fills that space that you're talking about. So now when you take somebody whose birthday is November, which is 11, the 11th month, kinetic or actively active, 29, based identified or base identity, 1803, reference, ongoing, unseen concept or constant to itself. Do you think that makes sense with somebody who could tell you how the weather is going to go based off of its patterns? Kinetic or actively active, base identified, reference, ongoing, unseen concept. Christian Andreas Doppler. If these things aren't spot on and you're not understanding, I really think you need to go back to some better school. And this isn't to insult you. The fact is, the people who taught you have insulted you indirectly or directly, whether you know it or not. It's time for you to be really educated. And I can do that for you, free of charge. Because guess what? All along, guys, money is fake. And you've been being played by tyrants who dress in suits and try to say what you want to hear. And unfortunately, even though they're not saying anything anyone wants to hear, people are too chicken shit to stand up to it. I'm not. But what can one guy do alone? I can actually put the word out and gather people with courage, and that's what I'm trying to do. Not because I want a war, because I want the fucking war to end. That's why. And many people will not want to hear that, thinking that we're not in the middle of a war, but yes, we are. We're in a war, not for territory, not for honor, but for your soul, for your consciousness. People want to run your mind, and it's working on at least 90% of the people in our world. And they obviously don't even have a clue. They think that this is how things go. That's just the way the world is. No, it isn't. That's the way the world has been made. And we are here to fix it. Don't you understand? If you don't, please tune in. Ask me questions. We can talk on the phone, and I will have the most heartfelt, meaningful conversation with you. Me just putting these videos out isn't enough. We've got to actually want to build friendships, build ties, build some kind of structure between ourselves. We can't just have these, oh, I've heard of him. Oh, yeah, I watched this guy on YouTube. Oh, I saw this guy on Rumble, or I saw this guy on Odyssey. This is just sad. Watching people sit back, trying to learn about the world from a phone or a computer, when the world has to be learned about from being in it. Nature has to be understood by taking part in it, not by sitting back and watching it be destroyed. What are you learning then? To do nothing? To watch the thing you love, the people you care about, be manipulated and harmed, and you're not going to do anything about it? I hear so many people saying they love their family and they would defend their loved ones. You're not doing that. Hello? Hello? Is anybody there? Your family is being hurt daily. You're being lied to. Your children are being brought up with no morals. Hello? Earth to mofos out there. I love you. I'm only saying this because this is kindness. Just fed up kindness. That's all. I want nothing but the best for you. But I can't have that, and you can't have that, unless you actually get out of your comfort zone and do the right thing, even if it's scary. One last thing before we move on to the next. This is something I've wanted to say for a while, because when you add a word all together, it means something. But since it's just added together and it's all simplified, it's a vague thing. But it usually will indicate something, and I'd have to show you with multiple examples. But right now I can show you for sure Eden, E-D-E-N, which they talk about in the Bible. Okay, E is 5. D is 4. There's 9. Another E, which is 5. That's 14. Add an N, which is 14. So we have 28. Oh, based here. So it's this open space of what? Energy. The energy den? The E-den? How do I know this? Take away both expressions and make them action, and it's Dan. Just like Adam is take the A from the beginning, because it means before, or associated with, and take that A and add it to the M, and you have D-A-N. Dan. This woman has made a present resurgence into the scene, and she's well known for many years as the country girl sweetheart, Dolly Parton. Her birth name is Dolly Rebecca Parton. Dolly, dia, ongoing, between two L's, or as it lie upon itself, vitally identified, a dolly. Rebecca, reference expressed base, expressing constant to itself, upon itself, active. Parton, potential active reference plus ongoing notion. And then her birthday is January 19th, 1946. January is 1, active. 19th, subject. 1946, subject, dia, form. Okay, can you not see that she's a person who's known for her looks, her big breasts, her sweetness, for herself? And if anyone in the world looks exactly part on as a dolly, who else would it be? Do you think this is all coincidence? Or do you realize that we're basically in what we would consider purgatory so that we can get over our egos? I hope you see it, because if you don't, you're in trouble. But I love you, and I'm here to help. I've already tried to record this person at least 11 or 12 times, to the point where my mouth has dried up because I have so much to say about this topic. But I'm going to keep it simple because the other ones have gone longer than I had liked. But since this is going to be the last one before I take a break, I really wanted to include this person. His name, Ham J. Dinshaw. Birthday, November 2nd, 1933. He was the founder and president of the American Vegan Society and the editor of its publication, the Ahimsa magazine. It's not just a coincidence. Ahimsa is AHIMSA, active here, identified manifestation, subject active. And his name is HOM, just another version of that same kind of idea. HOM and then AHIMSA. Come on now. You have to start seeing these things. Here, ongoing manifestation, or HOM, home without an expression. So you're at home wherever you are. It's saying, let things live, let things be. J, intense, active, vitally identified. Dinshaw, dia, identified notion or nature. Subject here, active here. Live and let live. And then his birthday, November, is the 11th month, kinetic or actively active. 2, second, base. 1933, subject, constant to itself, upon itself. It's saying, let the subject be constant to itself, upon itself, which means let it alone. Cause no harm. Ahimsa. Ham J. Dinshaw. Do you think these things are just a coincidence and this is exactly the person who founded the American Vegan Society and the publication of the Ahimsa magazine? Do you think any of this is a coincidence? The issue we're running into is that so many people have had depictions of violence, drugs, sex, special effects, all kinds of psychological stories that they don't even know what real is and what fake is. They don't even know what truth and lies are. They can't tell the difference. I'm here to teach you the truth through God, through spirit. It has nothing to do with religion. I'm using that word because it's so profound. That's the best way to get people to understand that I have the Creator within me. And it's not just me using that as a catchphrase. It's my real life, every moment of every day. Anyway, like I said, Ham J. Dinshaw, here ongoing manifestation, intense, active, vitally identified, dia, identified nature or notion, subject here, active here. Kinetic, base, subject, constant to itself, upon itself. How don't you see that? If you don't see it, it's probably because you eat too many dead corpses and you think like an animal. That's exactly what happens. Once you clear those things out of your system and you start to cleanse, you will feel different. Yes, you're going to feel a little sick most likely because it's just like purging yourself and getting withdrawals from any drug. But since you've been eating it and digesting it in your system, it's going to have some kind of backlash on you. But be prepared for it. Find people to help you get through these things. That's what you're here for. You're here to stop causing so much harm. Not to just keep doing it because other people did. Not to just keep doing it because it's what everyone else does. Or because that's what your traditions or your family does. You can still love people and not do what they're doing and be a better example. I encourage you to do that. That's how we fix the planet. We stop doing so much harm and causing so much destruction. I'm going to move on to the next person, but this is a very important one. Ham J. Dinshaw, American Vegan Society. Now, it has nothing to do with the word, because that word just means let things be began. V is 22. Be began. Cause no harm, live and let live. Even though this is episode 30, I've tried to keep out people who are kind of freaky or spooky, because reality is much scarier than most people can handle. And when I try to show that through the name and through the word, you can actually see that everybody was in their place. And if humanity doesn't get their act together, then things happen. And it will have divine timing, people in the right place. All that stuff is happening right now and always. And that's why I'm trying to show people this, so that we can start acting correctly and people can vibrate with new frequencies that actually do things that are good in our world. Aha! See what I'm saying? The same name will vibrate to a different frequency when the universe or humanity as a collective, as a whole, puts out different kind of energy. And because we're not, and we're still sitting back doing nothing while so much negative energy is being put out, that's what we vibrate with. Do you see how you can have the same name and then everything can change based on the world around you? So it isn't just based on you. It's based on you and then the effect you can have on other people that are doing harm. Because if they're doing harm, that puts out a vibration. I said all that leading up to this person, and in no way do I think this is funny. It's the Book of Life. And I've been telling people about this for a long time. Even though I haven't done many examples of the place you come from, because I know how odd this sounds for people to hear me speaking and breaking down words the way I do by the letter. And it's always going to be the same kind of meaning because that's what letters mean. They are magic, whether we get it or not. They are shapes in space, vibrational patterns that we resonate with. So this man, Leonid Fedorovich Toptanov, was the man who pushed the button during the Chernobyl disaster. So many people understand these when they look into occult. Many people will say when you see BL together with different vowels in between them, it means Baal or Bel or evil or the devil, the dark Baal, the Baphomet, all that kind of stuff. On some levels, those are true because some people name those things something on purpose. But some of these things happen because people don't know. They're living in a cosmic spectrum and vibrating with the world around them. And when we tamper with things we shouldn't tamper with, we get reactions whether we like it or not. Now, this man, Leonid Fedorovich Toptanov, born August 16th, 1960, was born in a place called Mykolaievka, Burn Rayon, Sumy Blast, Ukraine. I mean, I'm sorry about the pronunciation, but hey, I'm not perfect at saying different accents, and I don't try to be. I speak symmetrically. Anyway, just look at Mykolaievka. You want to call active, identified, vital, kinetic, active, okay? And then burn rayon. I don't even have to break that down. Just listen to it. Burn rayon. Radiation, burning. Sumy blast, the sum of ongoing blast. Just look at it. And then his birthday, August, here, 8/16, active force form or potential placement. And then 1960 is subjecting force ongoing. 60 is F, ongoing, force ongoing. And he's the guy who hit the button that caused the Chernobyl explosion. So along with all the stuff with Baal and Bel, you have Chernobyl. You want to churn old Baal, right? It's not to be funny, but just it's right there in front of you. This is the Book of Life. Shake away all the stuff that's like, oh, he's just putting it together and making it sound funny or just simple. And it is. We're doing wrong. That's as simple as it is. Now, if you just look at his full name, Leonid, the ongoing notion identified with the Toptanov, then Fedorovich is literally form expressed, dia, ongoing reference, ongoing vital, identified vital, constant to itself or unseen here. And then Toptanov plus ongoing potential plus underlying notion, ongoing vital. Something that wiped out a lot of people or people in an area and made an area toxic for years and years and years. It's not to be funny, but this is exact. That's why I saved some of these and I did them on this one. I want you guys to enjoy it, but at the same time, I want you to know that I'm teaching you in a very subtle way because otherwise I can't or it gets removed. And I do have obstacles like that against me because I care enough about you to tell you the deeper stuff as long as you don't get stuck on details. Everyone's in their place, and we change by putting out different energy and actually caring about each other. The way we start that is learning how to truly care about yourself by eating the right foods, taking care of yourself, and removing bad habits. It's really that simple, even though doing it is quite hard. I'll help you in any way I can. Let's move on. This next person stirs up a lot of anger and a lot of inner emotions in me, so bear with me. But there are many people in our history, or many people that people haven't even heard of in the general population, that when you dig into it, people will try to make them look like some kind of good guy sometimes. This person, Johann Adam Weishaupt, is the man who founded the Illuminati. He didn't want to be part of any other group, doing sacrifice rituals, and believed that you could only experience a new rebirth into life by taking life. These societies are the kind of things that have been hidden for such a long time that in order for you to prove your allegiance and prove your sacrifice, you actually had to sacrifice a person. A lot of our historic battles, accredited as if they were, noble people defending territories, were actually horrible people attacking defenseless people and slaughtering them so that they could prove their allegiance to a hidden group or a hidden society. We've had a lot of those things presented to us as great noble people who led an army against another army. And there was no army that they were going against. It was them as a group of marauders going and killing. I'll even go out and tell you the truth that one of them happens to be the first president. And he's not a great man whatsoever. But I'm not going to go into that one. Let's look at this guy, Johann Adam Weishaupt. First of all, you may not want to hear this depending on if you're someone who likes to follow a religion, but many people have even said that the Adam of the Bible has been rewritten and formulated around this man, the founder of the Illuminati, part of the secret cults. Maybe. I'm not going to say that's the case, but let's just put that out there because many people think that. On top of this, if you know anything about dates and words and years of our history, this was started on May 1st, aka May Day, 1776. Do you think these are just coincidences? That these are the societies that run people, and it happens to be the same year that a specific thing happened for America, who claims that they were free from England? Sure. Anyway, Johann Adam Weishaupt, February 6th, 1748. First of all, February, the second month, base or basis. Sixth, form, force, or familiar. So the basis of force or familiar, you want to make the law? 1748. 17 is Q, or active, generated and grouped. On Q, 4, dia, to and from. 8, here. So you want to make the laws for others to follow. On Q, to and from, here. Do you see that? February 6th, base, force, on Q, to and from, or dia, from here. Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense to somebody who wants to think that they can run the world secretly. Johann, J-O-H-A-N-N, 2 N's, notice. So it's intense, ongoing, here, activated. N-N is, like I've said many times, between a space. And that person wants to intense, ongoing, here, activate. Something between this space. Add that with Adam. You could say administration or administer, but you could just say active dia, active manifestation. Okay, and then Weishaupt, plural expressed identified subject, here, active, unanimous or unit underlying, potential, plus. When you do it in that form that I told you about, it sounds like baby language, but we live in a world where all languages interchange. And you could say, your hand, Adam Weishaupt. So he tells people what to do. But it doesn't mean he just walked around telling people what to do. He ran a society that ran people's lives without them knowing it. And until the last few years or the last few decades, no one even knew about this stuff. They thought it was just some kind of joke or some kind of conspiracy. But the thing is, it's actually very real. And if you look into it, it's spooky. What the people we're supposed to look at is these great, great founders were horrible people who did a lot to get their names recognized and make themselves look good. I'm not going to go into that because I'm happy I didn't go off. I've done that enough this video. So we'll move on to the next. This man, being such a well-known person, Nelson Mandela, his actual birth name, I may not be able to say right. I'll just read it the way it looks. I've heard it said, but it sounds like they say an S sound in there, but there's no S in it. So to me, it looks like Rolilala, Rolihlahla. If you've heard of the Mandela effect, it's like when something has happened and you swore you've seen it a certain way, but now as it comes around, apparently it was never that way whatsoever, but it had to have been because you've seen it that way. Wow, this is like a Mandela effect. There's a thing called a mandala, which is supposed to help a person escape an idea trapped in their mind through visual patterns. And then when we get into the video I have about the food words and the language that we all live in on a deeper level, including things that we see on an everyday basis but never understood the depth of it. When I get to that, we'll go into more stuff that actually has something to do with Mandela and the Mandela effect. Something to do with the mind, but it's mand, M-A-N-D, instead of M-I-N-D. See, Mandela, not mind, Ella. See, this is really deep stuff because mind is identified. Mand is active. So it's something you could have swore you saw one way, and then it's E, as it lies, A. So see how it's backwards. It's like, wait, that's not what happened. And it's literally a form of that word as well. Mandela is actually a form of the name Alexander. And I'm not saying it because, ooh, look at me. But it happens to be. And I'm not going to go too much into it. It's just the way it is. Without going too much into any detail about him as an individual, his name, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Notion expressed as it lie, subject ongoing notion. Reference ongoing as it lie, identified here. As it lie, active here. As it lie, active. And then Mandela is manifest active notion, dia, expressed as it lies, active. When you think about what I've said about it before, hopefully I didn't lose you in just a quick breakdown. But just look at Rolihlahla, like if it was going over and over, but changing, it was Li-la-la, L-I-H-L-A-H-L-A. L-A is something as if you were just the active base active at the end of L-I-H-L-A-H, and I is on the opposite side of A. These things may be hard to really completely understand, but realize that since they're placed backwards, it's like exactly what the Mandela effect is known for. You knew it one way, and it's the other way. I'm going to leave that all together just like that. I was hoping to get it said perfectly, but it's a very hard thing to explain, except it is exactly his name. It's what he was meant to do. It's all divine purpose, whether we want to admit that or not. Then, his birthday being July, the 7th month is severed and even, generated and grouped. 18 is a reference or active here. And then 1918 is subjecting active here. See what I mean? So it's generated and grouped, or severed and even, as a reference R, subjecting R. Two references. See how amazing it is that it all vibrates exact. And it just happens to be what words, letters, and numbers actually mean. And we live them in energetic form. People get lost thinking that I'm trying to simplify things to a small thing. I'm just showing the immense awesomeness of it. I believe that you should see the depth of what I'm saying instead of take it lightly. Anyway, that's Nelson Mandela. I meant to do that a long time ago, and it's confusing, so sorry if I lost you on breaking it down. But Rolihlahla is sort of a hard name to try to say right, especially if you've heard the way they say it. Either way, God bless all these people, as well as you, and we'll finish off this video. We're going to wrap this up with people that do things that are very subtle and have studied some of the most small energy patterns, and I'll show you how these names are, as all other people are, parts of the book of life, playing exactly the character that the universe would set them in place to be. And this is always the living word. So, the first person, Hans Geiger. Now, have you heard of the Geiger counter? Look at his birthplace, Neustadt an der Hart. The notion expressing underlined subject plus active to and from dia plus, then an active notion, der to and from express reference. Notice it's not under, it's on space der. It's the active notion. Space to and from an expressed reference. Der, there, der, see? In a different language. And then here, active upon itself, reference, dia plus. And if you didn't know, a Geiger counter is a tool they use to measure radiation. And then it was used for other things after that as well. There you have Hans Geiger to the T. And his birthday is September 30th, 1882. September is 9, the ninth month, identified. 30th is 3D, 30. Unseen constant to itself ongoing, but intense, 30. And then 1882 is active here or reference, here, base. So when you say that all together, it's someone who could measure something very subtle in an energy field, named Hans, here active notion subject, Geiger, generated and grouped, expressed, identified, generated and grouped, expressed, reference. See how that's a person who does something so subtle as particle energy. Does that make sense to you? Why this is the name of a person who did such a thing, born on such a day in such a place? All right, well, let's go to the next. And since we did Hans Geiger, whose birthday is September 30th, identified 3D, as well as being from a place called Neustadt an der Hart, the next guy, Ernst Chladni, we have a man who is known for the Chladni plate. Many people have seen it. That's where they tune frequencies and they vibrate things and vibrate different sand and different things like that to put into different shapes. Well, the Chladni plate was something they used to measure the speed of different gases by the shapes that they made. So there's many uses for it, but just for what it's used for, a guy named Ernst, E-R-N-S-T, not ear, not what we're hearing, what particles do to sound. E-R-N, expressed reference notion subject plus. And then Chladni, constant to itself or unseen, here as it lie, active, to and from or dia, notion identified. Ernst Chladni plate, where they make all kinds of crazy geometric patterns with different sands and different gases and things like that. Now, just like Hans Geiger was identified 30, September 30th, Ernst Chladni is November 30th, kinetic or actively active 30th, 3D, but constant to itself or unseen, ongoing, intense. 1756, on cue, expressed, form, force, or familiar. So that's where it makes its shape. Do you see how straight on that is? To even add more to it, he is known by some and labeled by some as the father of acoustics, and also known by some as the father of meteoretics. So when you're looking at it at a small level, as above, so below, you have gas, sound, sand, and particles on a plate from sound. On a massive level, as above, you have meteors. They are just way larger forms and way smaller forms of the same thing, vibrating on a plate or vibrating out in the meteors. As silly as that sounds to people, as above, so below applies to all of this stuff in every name. That's why I say there are 7 definitions, and they would all make sense if I could get you guys to wrap your head around what I'm trying to say just by showing you people, their names, their dates, the places they're born, all of it. It's so on. I can't imagine anybody having a way to show me that I'm wrong. It's just too weird for most people to understand what I'm trying to get at. There's something much bigger here, and I can explain it to you if you give me the time. Since we did Hans Geiger, who measured radiation, and we did Ernst Chladni, who measured gases on plates and meteors, how about water? Now we have Masaru Emoto. If you look at his name and understand that marine is M-A-R-I-N-E when we're talking about marine and water. His name is M-A with S-A before R-U. So it's Maru like not marine, but M-A-R-U with an S-A in the center of it. Subjected active. So you have a manifest active, subjected active reference unit. But then you have emoto. Expressed, manifest, ongoing, plus ongoing. And he's doing what? Doing experiments with putting your positive energy in water. Do you see how that's exactly what he's doing and what he's known for? It's not just his name, it's what he did in the world, and everybody knows it. Then his birthday being July, the 7th month, severed and even or generated and grouped, 22nd, vital or based base. It's 2-2. It's like flowing water. It's based base. It's vital. So it's severed and even, generated and grouped, vital. And then 1943 is subjecting, dia, to and from, constant to itself, or unseen concept. And he's doing it with water and emotions. And he's Masaru Emoto. I figured I would do these last three with the radiation, with the Chladni plate and gases and sand, and then with water and emotions, just to try to put it into a perspective so that you understand that these people are scientists known for what they've done. What I'm trying to tell you about mineral memory and what we're putting out as energy is a combination of all of these things happening within you and me and every other being that's here. And I'm trying to teach them how this works. And I can, with your assistance. So I'm taking a break from doing Game of Names for a while. But I will definitely have many more videos. But we've got to try to approach it a different way. If you'd like me to do anything for you, please suggest anything. I'll put my email and my phone number. I hope to hear from you soon. Until next time, peace and God bless.